Hi friends, welcome back to Kari on Baggage. So for better or for worse, we've actually traveled quite a bit during this whole pandemic. We were in Puerto Rico in March when everything went down, and then because San Francisco was bananas, we decided to then go to Mexico, and then we moved to Europe in June, so we've actually flown quite a bit since everything started. We've also just flown a lot with a baby in general. If you're new to my channel, my husband and I are nomadic. We are currently living in an Airbnb in Berlin, and tomorrow Ezra is going to hit his 20th flight. We get a lot of questions about what it's like to travel right now. So in today's video, we're going to take you with us as we travel from Berlin to Seattle to renew Manuel's green card. And I'm going to share some of the tips and tricks we've picked up in the last few months on how to travel safely with a baby during COVID-19. Obvious disclaimer here, neither Manuel or myself are medical professionals. Everyone should follow the CDC guidelines and of course not travel unless it's absolutely necessary. Okay, let's jump in. Can you tell us what you're doing?
I'm cutting cheese. Peanut butter.
So this might be dumb. Is this dumb? I don't know if this is dumb. I'll explain it anyway. This is what I call a tomorrow list. Whenever I'm getting ready the night before, I start a running list of everything I need to do tomorrow. It's got a to-do list. It's also got a list of things to pack. This is everything I can't pack the night before. And then this thing called flight math, which is basically just a schedule because I literally don't like keeping any information in my head. So I will literally write down when the boarding door closes, when the boarding is, from there, when I have to arrive, when we want to call the Uber, and then when we need to wake up. And then I just make sure that we're following this schedule in the morning when we wake up. Kind of avoids that whole rushing around and worrying that you're forgetting something. It's kind of dumb, but it keeps me sane. Okay, so we are now completely packed and everything is in packing cubes. And I want to show you guys how we organize everything between backpacks and a diaper bag because we never check baggage when we travel. So there's a whole strategy of what goes where, and that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. The line down. For my suitcase, this is all of my clothes for 2 weeks. Then we have all of Ezra's baby clothes for 2 weeks. These are my shoes. I have bathroom stuff, my purse that I'm gonna use during the trip, and then I have a nighttime kit. Everything else goes in the diaper bag. So kind of our philosophy on how we use the diaper bag when we're traveling is it's basically everything everybody needs while we're traveling. So it's some of Ezra's stuff, but it's also our stuff in a mix as well. What we have here is first a diaper changing kit. It has only the stuff you need to change a diaper so that when you go to change them, you just grab this and you don't have to take the whole diaper bag with you. It's just diapers, wipes, and a changing pad, which I hate bringing. It feels so bulky, but unfortunately when you're in airports, you end up changing babies in weird places and you need a layer between them and whatever you're changing them on. So diaper bag kit, obviously his toys. Mostly what's in here right now is chew toys, he's not a dog. Teething toys is only the toys that we're gonna need in transit. Then we have the sleep kit. So what's in here is a cover for his car seat, a sleep sack, and his sound machine will go in here. He's taking a nap right now and using it. So once he's done with that, we'll put the sound machine in here. And then also this lavender pillow spray that we've been using in an effort to give him like a Pavlovian response to this smell so that he goes to sleep, and it actually works pretty well.
Tell me again how he's not a dog.
Then what goes in there is my stuff. I have chargers and ring lights and whatnot. And then this is basically my commute kit. Got hairbrush, wallet, chapstick, earbuds, all that stuff. I've never quite figured out how to consolidate the existence of a diaper bag and a purse. So when we go out, I just use this diaper bag as my bag, and I kind of like have this little one that I just drop in, and then it's got all of my stuff in it. And the last thing I'll show you is that in the front pocket is baby wipes, disinfectant wipes, which is new since coronavirus, and then of course, hand sanitizer. So those are like our clean all the things that get messy or were messy before in this pocket. His baby bottles will go in this pocket. Our laptops will go into the back, and then everything else goes inside the main pocket. And that is how we organize everything for the flight. So I will see you on the flight tomorrow morning.
Achtung bitte, Sicherheitshinweis.
Good morning, Pumpkin. So we made it. It is 5 a.m. Well, we made it. We got an Uber. It wasn't a big deal.
We're at Tegel Airport, which is minuscule. That's basically it. Ezra has been a complete champ as always.
If you're watching this video because you are flying for the first time with a baby and you're binge watching YouTube videos to get some ideas of what to expect, like I did, I want to get a couple of things out of the way really quickly. If you've already flown with a kid, skip past this part. If not, here's the 5 things that every first-time traveler with a baby should know about. Thing to know, number 1, babies fly for free until they're 2 years old. They're called a lap infant. What that means is they don't get their own seat, but they're free. Best practice though, if you're traveling with a car seat, take it all the way up to the gate with you and then ask the airline attendant if there's any extra seats on the flight. If there are, they'll hook you up and then you can have your car seat on the flight, and then they've got their own sort of chair they're hooked up into, and then you don't have to hold them for the flight. Out of the 19-ish flights we've done so far, I'd say there's only been 3 that we actually haven't gotten an extra seat. Unfortunately, one of those times was a very, very long flight to Puerto Rico, which was miserable. Anyway, thing number 2 to know, strollers and car seats are free to check, not just when you're checking luggage before you go through security, but also at the gate. So what most people do is they take the stroller and the car seat all the way through the airport and then check it right before you get on the flight, just so you can save your arms a lot of hassle of carrying the baby around through the airport. Thing number 3 to know, even though babies are free, you do have to do something special to add them to the reservation. Unfortunately, every airline is different, so sometimes you have to call them, sometimes you can just do it online, sometimes you don't have to do anything, but you always have to figure out what each airline's policy is. A little bit annoying, but you do have to take one extra step. Thing number 4, airplanes have bassinets that they can hook up to certain seats, and you can ask for them, and if they're not full, oftentimes you can get a seat with a little baby bassinet that sticks onto the front of it. And the last thing to know, breast milk, formula, and all that stuff can go through security just fine. Theoretically, they can check it if they want to, but we've never had anybody do anything other than just wave us on through. This is why you bring disinfectant wipes on the plane. All the toys we packed, he's gonna be probably the most entertained with this water bottle.
I've spoken 3 languages today already.
And it's only 7 a.m.
I can whip out a few words of Dutch.
So this has never happened before, but we gate checked our stroller like we usually do, and they checked it all the way through to our next flight. So we've got a couple hours layover here in Amsterdam, and we had to make a new stroller out of our luggage cart. I don't hate it. Ezra, are you very confused? Okay, some COVID-19 specific tips. Let's talk about the riskiness of being in an airport, because there's some obvious cons, but there's also some pros. The obvious first con is that airports have lots and lots of people coming from lots of different places, so there's lots of traffic, therefore increasing your risk of getting infection. One pro is that because very few people are flying, airports are really empty right now. So you come into contact with even fewer people than you would on your regular grocery store run. That also means lots of open spaces for kids to play, which if you're going on an international flight with a baby who needs to sleep, it's actually really nice to have lots of space for them to crawl around and use up all their energy. Also, cleaning regulations in an airport right now are insane. When we were in an airport in April in, I think, Charlotte, North Carolina, we had a 2-hour layover and we were sitting in one of the little waiting areas. And in that 2 hours, I think we must have seen a cleaning crew come by and clean the area maybe 4 to 5 times. So they clean a lot. This is Europe.
I've seen in an airport in half a year.
But this is, we're still in Amsterdam and everything's pretty much open in Europe at this point, so we'll see what it's like when we get to Seattle. Maybe a totally different story. Whoa, looks like there's a dude in the car. That's cool. Be really flexible about cancellations and delays. Just lower your bar. It's a little chaotic right now and flights get canceled all the time. When we were trying to get from Puerto Rico to Mexico, our flight got canceled 3 times in a row, and they only had 1 flight a day, so it took us an extra 3 days just to get out of the country. Just
mentally prepare yourself for things to not run on your own timeline. This is kind of an obvious one, but I would strongly recommend stepping your hygiene game up a level or two. Basically go back to what we were doing in April, when we were like sanitizing every surface we would come into contact with. And every time we would like buy things from a grocery store, we'd come home and like wipe the boxes down. Everyone knows the recommendations right now, but we've all gotten a little bit lax over the summer. So the tip here is just that when you're traveling, to take all those extra precautions again. Expect airport food to be few and far in between. Lots of places are closed right now, most people know that, but this is where airport lounges really start earning their value.
So airport lounges, super hit or miss whether they're open or not, and super important because most of the food places are closed. What we've found so far, all of the Centurion lounges seem to be closed. So I think what's going on is most of the privately run lounges are closed and the ones run by the airlines are remaining open. And so this is where if you don't have Priority Pass is the card that gets you into all the lounges, becomes super helpful because then you've got more choices. And so that's what we're up to right now. We are on the hunt for an open lounge and we will let you know if we find one when we get there. So we found a lounge and are trying to wear him out as much as possible before we get on the flight. Is you gonna take your first steps in an airport? That would be pretty cool.
Well, we found the playground, but it's closed. No. We'll find some other place to play, okay?
So, I think we have sufficiently tired out the child, and we're on our way to our long flight. How many hours?
10-ish.
10-ish hours, so off we go. We now have our blackout blanket over the car seats. He's in his little sleep sack and having a little nightcap snack. It's easier for them to deal with the pressure change if they're awake, so we usually don't like to have them fall asleep before the plane takes off, and then usually he's out pretty much after we're in the air. Well, he's just kind of winding down. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Obvious con, when you're in a plane, you're in super close contact with a lot of different people. On the flip side of that, because of social distancing rules on international flights and also domestic US flights, they have everybody have their own row. So it's not as cramped as it usually is, and it's just a much more comfortable and enjoyable flight because everybody can lay down in their own row and go to sleep. Also, I don't know if this is new since COVID or if it's always been this way, but the air filtration systems that they have on planes is actually kind of crazy. In general, because the air that you're breathing goes through the engine, which is super hot and kills a lot of bacteria, and then it also gets compressed to meet the cabin pressure. The actual air that you're breathing is a lot cleaner than what you would get in, say, a typical office building or grocery store. And then everybody on planes, 100% of the time, is wearing masks, which is a lot more than you can say, for example, being in restaurants where everybody's taking their masks off.
It was okay. It was definitely not as easy as when he was younger and had less energy to crawl around.
Yeah, we did a lot of crawling around the plane this time. Everybody clearly obeying the 6 feet guidelines.
This is my #1 tip if you're traveling internationally during COVID. Bring a pen. It seems like a stupid tip, but
the CDC is now collecting these questionnaires about kind of where you've been, if you've had a fever, what your symptoms are. You know how they pass out stuff on the airplanes and you don't have a pen? You're like, what do I do? The airline attendants never have a pen. Well, the CDC person that was screening us had one pen. So we were bottlenecked on the plane for like an extra 30 minutes while everybody who didn't have a pen had to wait and like fill it out and then hand it to the next person. It took forever. We were the last people, I think, off the plane because of this. And if we had just had a pen, we would have like gone through security so much faster. So my number one tip for traveling during COVID is just bring a pen. You flirting? You flirting with everyone? No. Diaper change is in the stroller. We made it through immigration okay. Fun fact, you get to skip the line if you have a baby, which I guess is because they don't want screaming babies after a 10-hour international flight. This is our 20-ish flight, and still no TSA person laughs at his ridiculous passport photo that I think is hysterical. But apparently they must train people because it's stoic.
Just like him. Ezra, do you have a sense of humor? No? Okay, that's pretty funny.
So one tip that I decidedly wasn't going to include in this video that almost everybody includes when they talk about traveling during COVID, traveling with a baby, is leave extra time. I wasn't going to include this because I identify as being a pro traveler, which means rolling up in your Uber with exactly enough time to get through security and be the last person on the plane. And that hasn't changed since having a baby. And then we missed our flight on the way home. Now, to be fair, this was not our fault. This was a, I want to be kind, unqualified gate agent who took 93 minutes checking us in. Now, we're a slightly unique case. My husband and I have two different passports. I need to enter the country on my residency visa, and we have two different last names, so we're not like the most simple use case, but that's not that complicated, and I feel like if you're a gate agent, you should be trained for all kinds of situations. Anyway, she took 93 minutes checking us in. A good 25 of that was her on the phone trying to rebook our flight because she had already decided there was no way that we could make it from security to the gate in the next 58 minutes. Once she realized that was the only flight that day and couldn't rebook us, I think out of fear of upsetting us, she just like rushed through the rest of the paperwork and sent us on through. But at that point, we only had 10 minutes to make it. Long story short, we missed the flight. Yet, I still stand by not needing extra time just because you have a baby or just because you're traveling during COVID. Unless that honestly makes you have a more relaxed travel experience, I don't think you need it. Maybe you need an extra 5 minutes to change a diaper, but between babies and COVID, there's really nothing about the process that makes it take longer. And I feel like people think that when they have a baby, suddenly they need to pack a ton more stuff and suddenly they need an extra hour at the airport. And being someone who goes from varsity level traveler to suddenly needing to arrive at the airport 4 hours early is not something that I'm willing to accept just because I had a baby. So this is different for everyone. I still will not include it as a tip in this video. Just for full transparency, the way there was actually pretty smooth, but the way back, well, acquired this.
So that was our experience traveling during the pandemic in September of 2020. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Tuesday. And leave me a comment below telling me about what your experience has been like. I know things are completely different on different airlines and different countries, so I'm always curious what everyone else's experience has been like. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay.
But apparently they...
Welcome to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport.
Stop cursing.
Just fine, although they still...
All riders must exit here for baggage claim and ground transportation.
Oh, I don't want to say shit so much.
So this was a new thing since COVID.
Welcome to Fly Healthy at SEA. My name is Chris, and I'm part of
Experiencing travel. That was our experiencing travel. Thank you. I English good.